Welcome to the SMO Podcast. My name is Whitney, and today I'll be asking each guest 7 questions in 7 minutes. Here is the first look of our guest that will be speaking live on our stage. Look below to see what you'll say differently. And here is our next episode.
All right. We are here with Yasmin today. Very excited to have you.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Whitney.
Of course. I want to know, for everyone watching, who are you and what do you do?
I am very much a multifaceted person. So you will hear, hopefully, in this bite-sized podcast about many of the things that I do. But I am obviously a woman of color who is very proud of the fact that she didn't grow up around her people as much as people would think, and was always welcomed. So differences is not something I shy away from. It's something I very much embrace. I am an ex-educator, so I spent a long time teaching primary education over here in the UK. Experienced burnout, so that had to change and move on. And then I've moved into other careers now. So now I am a career pivot coach. I'm also a coach of what we would call football over here. You guys call soccer over there, but at a grassroots level. So we've got the young boys and girls who are starting off at 6 all the way up to 16 and coaching them through football and encouraging them to just kind of build life skills like confidence and resilience and a few other things. I'm a mother of 2. I'm a wife. I'm an Aries also. So I know that's something me and you share as well, Whitney. So yeah, multi things, many, many, many things.
I love this. And I think when working with children, it's a big responsibility in any capacity. But I'd love for you to touch on that more and to share, like, was there ever a moment where you felt like you wanted to quit, but you didn't?
So many times. I think with a career like teaching, you have no choice but to show up. And it does teach you a sense of resilience. But at the same time, you have to really think reflectively a lot about what it is you're doing and the impact it's having on others. So as much as you're bringing yourself to work, the fact that maybe, you know, it's the wrong time of the month for you, for example, or you had a really crappy morning, or, you know, there's emails that you haven't responded to, is not the children's business. It's got nothing to do with them. They've come for one purpose, one aim. So when it's showtime, it's showtime. They need you to show up for them in every single way possible. And finding the fine balance between doing that every day, because you have no change in your work hours. Even when teachers are sick, they're going to school. It's one of those jobs where you don't really find the balance in. So you're spending a lot of time really bringing yourself to work, but looking in for other people the entire time, and then still having to do it all again when you get home. Your husband needs you, your kids need you, everybody else needs you. So there have been times when I've been like, this is too much. So striking the balance was always a difficult part. And a lot of the time I didn't quit because I did hang in there for 15 years, but it was probably the reason that broke me in the end, to be fair.
Yeah, you mentioned something that stood out to me too, because I think oftentimes in any field, we, come to the workplace or we show up, and sometimes, we have to discern when to leave the baggage at the door, right? It's like, and even like you said, when working with children, it's a responsibility that, I have to show up a certain way. And so you explain how to embody that into balance, because balance is a huge thing in business and in life. And I would love for you to share a little bit more on people that might have trouble balancing all the things, or might feel stuck in the space that they're in, and in the space that you're in. What is some ways that you tackle that?
I think it's about being super transparent with yourself as an individual. Like, I think we're so good now with our vocabulary. Like, we're very good at finding different labels. Sometimes they're excuses for the way that we behave or carry ourselves. But just because we've got the label, that's not enough. You've now got to figure out what that means to others, but also what is the positive in that. So, for example, somebody who is a workaholic, a lot of people are now seeing that more as like a trait that you don't really want to have. But in there's a lot of goodness. There's, that means you're super resilient, you're super hardworking. But again, you've then got to find the balance. So I think it's really about reframing how you see things for yourself, and then knowing then how you're going to package that to others. And I think it's the same with a lot of our emotions. And that's what I'm kind of encouraging a lot of people to do through those career pivots, because a lot of people don't make changes or transitions because of the way they make us feel. and because of the way we kind of carry it or how it feels to us. But if we spend a bit of time kind of undoing that balance, figuring out what it is in terms of this is how it makes us feel, but this is the actual reality, and kind of walk through the best case scenarios, the worst case, that will kind of help people a lot more in the things that we have to deal with. So like you said, it's an idea of baggage that you have to carry. So you're going to work, you have to show up a different way, but it doesn't need to sound like I'm going to work, I have to show up this way. It can really sound like I'm going to work and this is the way I'm going to show up. They're always still exactly the same, but it's the way you package it. So now that I've had those experiences at work where I had to kind of, like you said, find that discernment and maybe not necessarily bring the baggage, now I've been able to see things from the other side and go full hog the other way and be like, can't cope with my baggage whatsoever. I've now found a happy medium where I'm now like, this is my baggage, but it also makes me who I am. So that's not something special, something I cherish, something I'll hold on to, and something I'm not able to share with people in a way that isn't super negative, but also allows them to understand me, but then for me to still feel like I'm being myself and maintaining balance.
I like that answer. Cool. There's wisdom in what you said, because I feel like based on what you said, it spoke powerfully to the person that is struggling to balance all the things, but now realizing that it's in how you show up, it's in how you say certain things, and then also shifting the perspective to, like you said, I get to show up, I get to be here today. Yeah. And oftentimes it's like when something becomes so, such like a practice, when it becomes so familiar, we lose sight of like the fact that we even get to be there.
100%. And it's difficult because, life is, I think we have to really almost baseline the things that they are what they are. Sometimes it's not really about sugarcoating, just sugarcoating things in general and not being super transparent about how heavy it is. Like getting up, getting through the list of whatever it is that day, you have made some serious achievements because you got through the day. And we don't do that enough. We haven't got time. We're always on to the next thing. But that is what you get in terms of then being able to find a balance if you're able to just have those moments to reflect a lot more. So I fully agree.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think with all of that, it comes with mindset, right? I feel like mindset is the foundation of that. So for you, what would you say was the mindset shift that changed everything for you?
I think you start to look at the people around you and how much they rely on you, and that this idea of giving up or not being able to do anymore just didn't sit well with me. So I knew I had to find a different gear to shift into. It wasn't going to be as fast paced. It needed to kind of come back. And it was through a lot of, having to go to counseling at certain points, really understanding this term anxiety. Is it something I suffer with, or is it something I'm now going to need to learn to deal with? They're two very different things, right? And figure out what it is that is then going to make this now something I can cope with on a day-to-day basis and actually use in positive terms, but also as leverage at different points in time. And I'm just trying to now, not now, but before, it was that whole shift there helped me to really kind of just take a step back, move out of the gear that I was in before. I must say I'm a very ambitious person, but I'm also very curious. So when you combine the two, I'm constantly trying something new. So as soon as I've tried one thing, people might even say, you might even be a bit bored all the time. I'm always wanting to know, what is that over there, or what would that be like? So I'm happy to try those things. So now it's not so much of a negative thing because it allows me to explore different things, learn from people, be in different environments that I wouldn't necessarily place myself in. So again, like you said, that whole mindset shift of if this is the situation I'm currently in, what am I going to be able to do with it? Firstly, I need to understand what I'm in control of. Then I need to find all the positives in that as much as possible, and then keep pushing forward. And then that will allow you to kind of carry on without it will be heavy, let's not exaggerate, but it will be now you in better balance of how you deal with that on a day-to-day. It feels heavy and no one's going to take that from you. We're not going to sugarcoat it, but we will understand that because it's heavy, you've achieved so much. So we just need to keep giving ourselves those little bits in between. So that's what I spend a lot of time doing now, just reflecting on how far I've come. Simple things, getting breakfast done, I managed to get the kids to school on time. The house was a mess this morning. I've done 2 loads of washing. Little pat on the back here and there. It allows me to be able to keep going. And there's small tasks, but it does give you exactly what you need. And you're in control of those things. So that is super important. If we put a lot more effort and emphasis on figuring out the things that we're in control of, doing well with those things, and then giving ourselves the grace and the flowers that we deserve in between, everything else then starts to fall in place. But then it also doesn't feel so far or impossible.
That's good. That's good teachings right there. I don't know if you have a set framework for that, but based on what you said there, what I got from that was awareness. What I got from that was focusing on once you can identify what you're even aware of, now focusing on the positive and implementing that. But even so, I would love for you to break that down a little bit more. And essentially, I'd love to know how you actually help people get results from working with you, because even hearing you now, for those that are tuned in listening to you, Yasmin, there was a lot of value in what you just said.
A lot of the work I do with people is kind of that discovery, like you said, that initial awareness. Let's find out what we're aware of, and some of it we're not aware of. Sometimes we need to figure out what exactly is now the cause, because knowing something but then knowing where it comes from is slightly different. Like I said, we're very quick now to say, oh, I can be toxic at times, but what does that actually mean on a day-to-day? Or I'm not somebody who's super proactive. Okay, but what does that actually mean? Tell me about that. Let's talk through some of those things. And then when you break it down, sometimes you realize that they're actually linked to other things. So that would be the first bit of work that we'll start to do. So that awareness then needs to come into enough of an action sort of list. Then we work on the confidence. Because to act straight away, if people were doing that, we wouldn't even need to have, clients and conversations. They would have been doing it on their own. Then it's this idea of imperfect action, then being that push towards being more confident to then be able to take the bigger steps. So we would spend a lot of time now building that confidence through that work in positivity. So all that mindset work around reframing narratives is a very, very big one for people. We don't tell ourselves enough about the positives. We don't spend enough time figuring out what things are and what they actually mean to us. We sometimes don't spend enough time just simply daydreaming. So with some of our biggest hopes and desires, just kind of walking through how they make us feel, all the positives in that, and then looking at the negatives. If we don't achieve it, what might happen? How will that make me feel? All of those sort of conversations. And then when you kind of weigh up the balance between the two, you start to see that even if it doesn't come to fruition, it's not detrimental. It's not going to break you. It maybe isn't going to give you exactly what you need, but then you are then exploring other routes and other avenues and other pivots. And then I think at that point, once people have got that idea of, okay, now I'm feeling confident enough to take imperfect action, then we start to work back to what imperfect actions can we now take with some of those big ticket items that we talked about that are linked to the original reason why you were here. And some of them we get through and some of them we don't. But a lot of the work would then be about, when it comes to career specifically, thinking about what is transferable. So who you are as an individual, let's break all of that down. And then let's start focusing on your list of skills that you have that can't be taken from you. And then we work through which ones are transferable, align them up with new careers, because there are so many things these days that are transferable, and then understand what people are then willing to learn about themselves and that new area.
There was something that I love that you said, and it was, we don't spend enough time daydreaming.
Yeah. Factual. We
I
don't.
love that.
We really, really don't. It's so powerful.
And with the framework that you just gave, it kind of answers my next question, because you kind of just gave the framework of how you even do this. But I wanted to know, what does being seen and heard mean to you personally? What does being seen and heard mean to you personally? I feel like you just gave away how you make your people feel seen and heard. What does that mean to you?
To me, being seen and heard, it's hard. Does it boost my confidence? I think it does. But at the same time, going back to kind of like the daydreaming idea, it kind of gives you that validation of things that you kind of already knew. So I feel like I'm sure we've all done it. As kids and even as adults, there are things that we know within us we were born to do. We know what our purpose is. We know what really drives our core. Do we always have the time or feel like we have the capacity to work towards that? Not always. But I feel like when I'm seen or when I'm heard, it makes that feeling then, come alive. I think I've said it a few times before. A lot of the time I'm walking around, I'm like, the oven is on, it's hot, it's ready, but I don't always know what I'm cooking up, right? And it's that bit there that then gets fed by me feeling seen and feeling heard. And I think then with clients also, it's that you're now in a space where you're now like, what is next? But you have the confidence, the burning desire is now active, and it now is ready to do some work and get things done. So yeah.
Yeah, you have a great way of like painting pictures when you speak.
Big daydreamer, that's why.
Yes, and I think that's such an essential characteristic to have as a business owner, as someone that's truly serving in their space, is to be able to draw pictures. Oh no. Are you good?
I'm absolutely good, but the lamp.
Go ahead. No problem. Okay. It's so funny because I just like kicked something underneath my desk.
No, it's fine.
Bloopers.
You will have to edit that.
I was just gonna say we got bloopers.
It was here and it fell.
Do you want to get that though?
No. If I get it now, I can turn it off now. My husband's come upstairs to save me, bless him. But we have bloopers.
Oh no, you're fine. No, it's so funny because right before that, I like kicked something under my desk and made all this noise as you were talking, and I was like, oh my goodness.
And I didn't even hear that. Oh, it's okay. It's a cheap lamp.
We're doing the thing. We're doing
it. Let's keep going. Oh my god. Let's
keep it going. Yes, like you have a way of drawing pictures so that when you speak, people can interpret what you're saying and not just hear it, but see it visually. That's a gift. That's a gift.
And that comes from teaching for sure. Because when you're with kids, everyone knows what the learning objective is for the day. Oh, we're going to do maths. Oh, we're going to write a story. But not everyone's going to get there the same way, right? So you've got to find different ways. So we'll do a bit of visual here, and then maybe you'll do some sentences. So it's that kind of idea of kind of bringing all of those together to get people to the same space. It's definitely coming from teaching. Yeah,
I love that. When you're a teacher, you have to have the best of both worlds and be able to pivot. For you, because I don't know if you've always started this way, but what was one belief that you had to break to become successful?
That I even had the confidence to be able to do it. Growing up, I was not confident at all. I felt like I had all these gifts, like, people always say, oh, you've got an amazing singing voice. Oh, you're really good at acting. Oh, yeah. I knew all of these things from very, very young. But to catch me in a space doing that, to get me to be in the front row or to sign up, that did not come from childhood. I was not born that way. I don't even think I even became super confident until my 20s and kind of getting into more of a career space. And then, like we said, that feeling seen piece really started to validate a lot of those desires. And then I was a bit more like, no, I'm actually going to try and see what happens here. And then all sorts of, amazing things and opportunities that I was then be able to have. Like I was one of the first teachers at the school that I worked at who was even recognized to be able to train. I was one of the first teachers who was able to get certain children at a certain grade point average. I was one of the first, and these times I'm still learning. And people are like, who is this girl? Then I became that person, but it was that feeling seen, being given the right opportunities that even, allowed me to be able to do it. And then it was the same for the kids. I kept saying to them, I know what actually you have a really big talent in, either singing, dance, drama, choreography, art, all of those amazing things. And then I'd have to say to them, we're going to find a space for this to happen for you so people can see you in your light.
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. And, I feel like God gives you the capacity to be able to do all the things, not everybody has the capacity to the level in which you're able to perform, in which you're able to do the things, right? Maybe someone's only good at two things. Maybe someone can only handle, two kids, you know what I mean? But to have that gift to be able to to just use all of your gifts in different arenas and not have to just, not just have to shrink to be small, but to
100%.
do all the things, I think is powerful. Because sometimes we feel like we have to niche down or we have to choose one. But it's, when you have the ability, when you have the gift, you just got to learn, I feel like, balance, like you spoke about before, and really allow yourself to serve in every capacity that you can. I love this conversation. I think my last question for you would be, how do you stand out as a keynote speaker with SMO? Because we've seen you on stage one and you're going to be speaking now at our event. So how do you stand out as a keynote speaker, as somebody that is, a dancer, a singer, that is somebody that is, providing for children, but now to be able to speak on those things to help people implement what it is that you're learning and what you've been able to use to serve?
I think because I'm very unapologetic in what I say, you're hearing the story, but you can hear how authentic it is. I can be quite engaging in that way. I think when a lot of people hear my background and story, it also provokes a lot of engagement because it's like, wow, she really navigated quite a few different things there. Like, it wasn't always roses. There's been a lot of things that have been ups and downs, different levels of trauma in different spaces, but you're able to get through all of that. And I think just being able to now piece together, this was the path I was led on, but at no point in time did I have a clue how I was going to get through certain things in those moments. However, because I remain delusional and faithful at the same time, I was able to navigate through it all. And now I'm able to, stand before you and tell these stories. And because I've been on those cycles and journeys, because it's never once, like, we never just get there and then we're there, right? There's always then something else and we're trying to reach, and we fail often. Because I've had to live that cycle so many times, I'm almost prepared now for the unknown. I'm quite comfortable in that space. And I think, like you said, doing things like, now getting into the speaker space, which in a teaching aspect I've done a lot of, but now to do it more in a space where, you're dealing with adults, there's a lot more judgment. They're going to want a lot more from you. I still feel super confident about, just because I've had the experiences of being able to navigate the unknown, I think, all too often. And now I'm unapologetic about it.
I love that. I think there was so many takeaways from today's conversation, and I can truly, see the confidence and the knowingness and who you are. And so I feel like those that are, on that journey, that are trying to figure out, exactly who they are, trying to figure out their purpose, or maybe even juggling all the things, right? Because they have so many gifts, such as yourself. Where can they connect with you? Where can they dive a little bit deeper into that with you?
At the moment, it's Instagram. I have my Instagram page and people are DMing. Before that, I would just kind of put Facebook posts out and people would connect, and then it would be referral through different friends and things like that. But now I'm trying to get into a wider space of people and scope. So it's Instagram at the moment. So it's Yasmin Husbands Coaching on Instagram. And I'm building my website at the moment. So hopefully that will be up and running soon. So hopefully before our next call at the live event, I'll be able to have that ready to be able to share with people. But other than that, I'm on your school platform, and I'll be on the new Beyond Scene app as well. So SMO's app is coming out soon. All of those good spaces, I will be there ready and waiting to help and assist whoever needs me.
That's amazing. Well, we're excited to have you speak at our next event. And I'm excited to see more of what it is that you have to offer, because every time I learn something new. And so make sure that you're tuned in with Yasmin. Make sure you go connect with her. You'll be seeing more of her on April 27th at our live event. And we're so excited to be able to tap into more of what you're doing and serving in this space. So thank you, Yasmin. Thank you for being here. And I'm excited for what's to come.
Thank you, Whitney, for being an excellent host. She's an excellent host, guys, as you can see. Growing and doing all the amazing things. I have never had such a smooth experience when it comes to podcasts. Obviously, we've had the blooper, but I've really enjoyed today's conversation, and I cannot wait to keep connecting with you guys more.